And welcome to another episode of the Football Smack Talk Show. I am your host, Ryan.
I'm Eric.
What is going on, everybody? We took a few weeks off, obviously, with the Super Bowl going on and everything that happened there afterwards. So we are here to talk about the season, kind of give a nice little recap, and then, of course, talk about the impending free agency, which starts March 15th in a little less than a month. And then, of course, the draft, which is a few months after that. So, Eric, I'll just start with you and your thoughts on the Super Bowl, the season as a whole, whatever route you want to take here.
Sure.
Let's talk about it.
Well, we're 8 days removed from the Super Bowl. So now being a little more removed than the initial raw reactions that I know we all had and I had towards
Oh boy.
certain I mean not just, my posts on Facebook that whatever however you want to judge it, I'll accept whatever you want to say about it. It was said in the heat of passion, in the heat of the moment.
Or
And
was. I think that's what that song was talking about.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was about. A Super Bowl reaction on Facebook. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Real quick, what's going on, D? Good to see you, buddy. Long time no talk. How are you, pal? Yeah. Listen. Obviously, that happens. We. I was. I don't know. I wasn't as volatile as you certainly were.
Yeah.
I was a little numb, and I was numb for the subsequent next couple of days.
That kind of kicked in for me a couple days later. Yeah.
I'm only now just kind of out of it, out of the numbness. I've dealt with it, and I think if this was 20 years ago, me, I would probably have a much different reaction. Probably, more angry, more sadness, the whole nine. But yeah, I don't know. I just
Mhm.
kind
I
of
kind
just
of wonder. Part of my reaction is too. It's like it's the finality of the playoffs and of a championship game. The knowing now you don't get another game for 7 months.
right. Yeah, I mean that
And
certainly adds to it for
that
sure.
always I know triggers me a lot because of how much I love football season, and I know like I hate it when it's over. And obviously, if you win the Super Bowl, that makes it a little easier to take. It's like you kind of have a high. You go to a parade. You have the like, you know, and then it kind of sets in like a little. Maybe that next weekend, it's oh man, now we don't have football again for a long time.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a sad thing for anybody like us who are humongous football fans, and obviously we're big Birds fans, but football, the NFL as a
Sure.
whole is something that's a part of our Sunday for 5 months out of the year.
Yeah, and then for all but three of our seasons alive,
Right.
like the Eagles season and the football season, they've ended on different days.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously, I think at this point now, like you said, 8 days removed from the Super Bowl, I think the reality is set in. The
I
emotion,
think I'm okay to talk about it now.
yeah, we're talk about it. Obviously, saddened that we weren't able to win it all. And it sucks because while I don't think any of us like to put blame specifically anywhere, whether it's the refs, whether it's the field conditions, whether it's the lack of adjustments on
Yeah, I hate
defense.
that we had to debate either of those first 2 points,
Well,
but
right, yeah, the first two specifically, it sucks because if those
yeah,
weren't there and you lose, well, you lost, And
sure.
Kansas City, don't get me wrong, deserved it. They played a great,
Mhm.
great second half.
They
They
played good enough to win. Yeah,
And yeah, it just sucks that there's a few of those things that kind of loom over where, hey, listen, oh, yeah, everybody played on the same field. Yes, true. But those field conditions took away one of our biggest advantages, which
hmm
was our pass rush. And we couldn't do anything. Now, granted, it should have been on Gannon to adjust. knowing that he didn't have that, and maybe formulate a different game plan, different approach. But whatever,
Or at least adjust at halftime when you see that
well,
that's going to be
well,
an
that's what
issue.
I mean. That's what I
Yeah,
mean. But when you think about it, and I think this is what's helped me is, and I know some people call it a cop out, some people call bullshit, but none of us thought we would be at that point. None of us. We wanted it.
I'll just say in retort, once you're there, though,
Well,
like
sure.
that
Yeah,
makes it like because you got to like we know how hard it is to get there.
super hard to get there, and we had. While I don't think our window is closed by any means, but
Oh
we
no,
had a bigger window, given the fact that Jalen Hurts was on a rookie contract, given the fact that we don't have a huge amount of pending free agents this offseason. It was definitely a huge opportunity to take advantage and get another Super Bowl trophy here in Philadelphia. So, but again, I think when you step back and say, listen, they overachieved, they played great all season. And if I think it would have been different if they would have been 9-8 and squeaked in and somehow made it to the Super Bowl, that might have felt a little different. But knowing how dominant they were all season,
right?
just kind of hurts a little bit more. But yeah, I mean that's kind of all we'll really get into it. I think everybody's talked about the Super Bowl to death. I know I certainly have on other programs.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, listen, the next couple of months will have a huge impact on this team. I mean, 8 out of
Mhm.
your 11 defenders are pending free agents. You have the yearly Kelsey. Will he retire? Will he not? You have a starting offensive lineman. You have a starting running back. You have the pending, $50 million contract going to Jalen Hurts. There's a lot of things going on, and we're going to talk about it, obviously, and
Mhm.
we'll, before the free agency period happens, we'll certainly do a roundtable as we usually do, and then we'll do one right before the draft, as again we normally do. So, Eric, right now, we've talked about it briefly as we
Yeah.
wanted to only
Mhm.
talk about it briefly, but now that we are officially in the off season, we can kind of dive in a bit. You're looking at our free agents, looking at what Howie has to do.
Mhm.
Uh, there were some reports that just came out recently that CJ Gardner Johnson um, seems to be the priority for the Philadelphia Eagles. And there was a report saying that if they are not able to get a deal done, that they are more than likely going to franchise him, which I believe would put him at about 14.4 million cap for next year, which
Mhm.
isn't like crazy insane considering I would assume that
I
he
would
would
assume you get
a
that
little,
on the open
a
market.
little
Yeah.
close to that anyway. So excuse me. So, outside of that information, who are you hoping or thinking the Eagles will be targeting of our own free agents?
Yeah. Well, you touched on the big one. I would put him as a high priority. T.J. Edwards. I'd like to bring him back.
Okay.
He's a big. You mentioned all the guys on the defense. Like, look, man, this was a record-setting defense
Sure
that
was.
I'd like to bring back. I mean, you're not going to be able to bring back everybody, but um, but yeah, T.J. Edwards would be a big name that I would want to bring back.
Okay.
I'm not sure the contract spots of like say a Josh Sweat
I mean,
or uh, even a Brandon Graham where he's at.
well, Sweat's not a pending free agent.
Okay, so
It's
he's like one of the few that isn't.
him. He is secure on the defensive line. It is Fletcher Cox. It is Robert Quinn, Brandon Graham, Javon Hargrave being the big one.
Yeah.
Um, Sue, Joseph. These are
Well,
all guys.
Sue and Joseph, I feel like they were brought in to be
Oh yeah,
hired guns for this year.
well, sure, but again, I think they played pretty darn good. And again, if we're
Sure.
able to get them on the cheap for another year, I would love to continue to add to. the rotation there and kind of.
And if you're like, say, or a Joseph, or even a Ndamukong Suh, like, wouldn't you just think, hey, look, I could probably go out there and sign a contract in somewhere to fill a role, but like, man, here in Philadelphia, if I were to come back here, we could have a chance of something special. To me, the ability, especially when you become a veteran, to be a part of a special unit, like that would trump like any extra money I might get. Like, especially if it's just a matter of like, 1 or 2 million. Like, and I know to me or you, that's life changing, but
Right.
for them, not so much.
Well, yeah, and exactly, and I think I think that's what's going to be important here for players, veteran players like that.
Mhm.
Is it more important to continue to stay in Philadelphia, knowing the culture? It was obviously a very fun season. They obviously went very far. They have a lot of the major pieces in play. So like outside of Sue and Joseph, who again got paid $2 million, are they going to get much more than that on the open market? Probably not. So why
Right.
not? Unless the Kansas City Chiefs come calling, or the Bengals, or again another
Or
top,
the Bills, or
or the
yeah.
Bills, yeah, another top team like that. It would seem a little strange should they kind of take
So yeah,
money.
yeah. If you're Ndamukong Suh and you can make $2 million by playing with the Eagles, or you could make 2.2
Let's
to
just
play with the Rams,
right. Let's say
or
three even.
yeah,
Like,
or the Saints.
is
Yeah,
that $1 million really worth maybe your last chance at potentially winning a Super Bowl, or at least playing on a championship
right.
team? So I think that is certainly something working in our favor. I think when you extrapolate that towards somebody like Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, while they are a little bit, you know,
Well,
probably
and they might look at it more of a comfort in your current situation of like someone like a Fletcher Cox or a Brandon Graham. They played their entire careers here. Like, we also have to remember they're human beings, and so like if you want to change teams, like it's not just like you're not just playing Madden here where you just switch a team.
you
Like
move.
you're talking about moving. You If you've got kids, a wife, you're changing jobs, changing a location, like that's life changing, and it could be a matter of, hey, like if it's an extra mill to go somewhere else, maybe that's not worth it.
Yeah, again, I think for Cox and Graham, I think they would have to kind of get blown away with an
Right.
offer for them to kind of go elsewhere. So I
I
honestly,
feel like whatever they get, they might come back to the Eagles and see if they'll at least
yeah,
match it. Yeah.
yeah, I can certainly see all three, or I'm sorry, all four of them coming back. Unlikely
Hmm.
all four, but I could certainly see somebody like Sue, along with Cox and Brandon Graham sticking around, which would be
Hmm.
great because again, I think this gives Howie another year to kind of help to add to the depth, eventually kind of draft their replacement, so to speak. This draft, there's a lot of good edge
Hmm.
players. And I don't doubt that we come out of the first round with at least, one defensive lineman for sure. So adding to the youth that is Jordan Davis, Sweat,
Yeah,
technically
I feel
still,
like Jordan Davis coming here really kind of spelled them preparing for the end of at least one of with Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave, and it looks like Javon Hargrave's probably going to get to test the waters, and if he tests the waters, I think he'll probably get blown away by a nice offer.
yeah, I mean, a lot of people are predicting 20 mil per season for him, and I just don't see us paying that. That's
Good
all.
on him. Like,
Yeah. Oh, exactly. You played
yeah.
yourself to a great season and get your
Mhm.
money. I think the same applies for Bradbury. Again, I think
Yeah, I would agree with that as well.
you played so well that you kind of outbid yourself for the Eagles to re-sign you. And that's again another huge, huge hole that we really need to make sure that we fill, especially if we can do that in a draft. If that edge player isn't there at number 10, there are certainly a couple of corners like Witherspoon,
Mhm.
Gonzalez. Porter Jr. maybe slightly lower down, but there's definitely going to be some corners there that can be had at the 10 spot and honestly even at 30. But to kind of come in, be the
Yeah,
C.
at 30, man, I'd love it if like Ringo were still there at 30.
I mean, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30, bring in your 30 or 10, whatever it is, bring in your
Hmm.
2, and then you essentially have already drafted your Slay replacement because Slay is probably not going to be, too
Yeah.
much here. So, um,
Well, and that's where then like, you have to remember you'll have future drafts too. So like
right,
if Sill's not here after next year, you
right,
can
right.
always go back and draft another corner. And hey, then you have two young corners on rookie deals while you have your stud quarterback on a stud quarterback contract.
Right, exactly. And we all know how he is. That is what he excels at as
Hmm.
far as the contracts, making the money work. Um, I think the only thing that might be a little disconcerting is some of the contracts he's given as kind of a hey, thanks for what you've done kind of contracts. The Alshon Jeffrey one, the Fletcher Cox recent one,
Sure.
uh, and
But doesn't it kind of just seem like he's always evolving? He's always learning from like
sure,
some of his mistakes.
absolutely, absolutely. So again, I think we've basically determined that Hargrave and Bradbury are most likely gone. Um, Probably
Yeah.
Kaiser falls in there. I just don't
I
think.
would agree with that too. I just don't see where he fits.
Yeah, exactly. With Dean, hopefully,
Right.
taking a step up, and who knows again what happens in the draft. Well, we all know that won't happen in the first round, but
Yeah, maybe on Friday of the draft, he could be back in position.
maybe. I don't want to
Maybe.
get my hopes up, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I think the defense is certainly the most important thing. I think that we need to focus on free agency. When you flip it to the offensive side, obviously you have Miles Sanders, who
Mhm.
has just recently come out and said he's willing to take less money to stay in Philly, which is always a great thing you want to hear. But then again,
How much is less money and
you're
can
still
that still work? Yeah.
you're still paying a running back, money, and we've seen the success of teams that aren't paying, $5+ million to a running back
Yeah.
is those that have those larger contracts. The success of the team is so much greater with a smaller contracted running back.
Now I
And
feel bad because I saw this earlier and I kind of wanted to bring this up to you. It was about the Giants talking about they have two free agents and their talk is possibly franchising Saquon Barkley, trying to lock up Daniel Jones long term. And I really feel bad that I forget the number they put out there for what a franchise tag on a running back would be. Because I remember thinking I wanted to ask you what your thoughts were on if the Eagles would or if you personally would think that it would be at least an idea to entertain of franchising Miles Sanders.
oh wow, for Miles Sanders, no. No, I don't want to see Miles Sanders making more than $5 million. I think. Hold on. Let me.
Again, I'd feel a lot better if I could remember what that number was, because then I
Uh,
would know if it was worth having a conversation about.
Franchise tag is slightly over 10 million.
Oh no, never mind.
Yeah, exactly. No, thank you. Safety, just for the record, I did say 14.4. It is 14.46. So sorry, I was $60,000 off.
Hey, look, man, that's like another couple pizzas or something for him.
Franchise for defensive tackle is 18.937, which again,
I don't see us
I don't see it.
doing.
I don't see it either. But yeah, as I was saying, looking at the offense and who we have free agents wise, obviously Jason Kelsey is by far the number one, but it's
Well,
not like
yeah, I mean, he'll either come back or retire. Yeah.
so you just kind of got to wait for him to make his decision. You have starting guard Isaac Samalo, uh, who was making 5.3 million. I could certainly see them wanting to go with either what they already have or maybe somebody in the draft to kind of build up. Obviously, Stoutland University, pretty successful. So
Yeah.
that certainly helps save a little money in that regard. Technically, Andre Dillard is a free agent. I think he's nice to have as far as a backup, but I don't see him resigning. I'm sure some,
No, I think he's going to try to pursue a chance to start
yeah,
somewhere. I think
somebody,
someone will give him that opportunity.
yeah, most likely. So, as far as running backs, Boston Scott, and as we said, Miles Sanders, I could certainly see Boston Scott, re-signing for maybe 2 mil. Uh,
Yeah.
Sanders, on the other hand, it's kind of got to figure that out. And then you also have Zach Pascal, who I wasn't necessarily thrilled with, but I could certainly see him re-signing just
Yeah, I wasn't blown away by him, but I mean, he kind of does what you want that bottom of your core to do. He can come out there, make a couple plays for you, make some plays on special teams.
yeah.
Would have
Well,
to need a tackle maybe on that punt return, but
yeah, but his familiarity with Sirianni certainly might allude to him re-signing. And then finally, on the offensive side, there's tight end Tyree Jackson, who again has just been hurt basically, and honestly has shown promise. So it's not like it would
yeah,
be.
it's a shame. But I feel like he's probably going to end up having to get his opportunity somewhere else.
It might be considering Calcaterra and Stoll seem to be right now be the 2 and the 3.
Yeah,
And then finally, Gardner Minshew, who, again, had an opportunity to kind of show his starting ability. Looked good in the one game, didn't look so good in the other. So who knows if
even the
some,
game he looked good in, he still turned the ball over 4 times.
yeah, thanks to Quez Watkins,
Well, one of them, yeah, because of Quez, yeah.
maybe two. But anyway, so yeah, who knows if he'll get a chance to start and whether or not, if that happens, obviously he'll be gone. But if not, do we even want him to kind of come back?
I mean, I guess.
Or would you prefer somebody, like a Jacoby Brissett, who might be able to run the offense more towards what Jalen Hurts can do, as far as
If all things are equal, and by that I mean like the contracts, I think I'd rather have somebody who could run Jalen's offense
yeah,
in case Jalen were to go down.
yeah,
But right now, as we say that, let's all say a prayer for the health of Jalen Hurts. And but yeah, to me, I think if Minshew's starting somewhere, it's probably in that grooming type role for a rookie coming in.
yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, I could absolutely
Like
see him.
probably someone like Houston or something like.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, well, I was going to say, I mean, most likely they're drafting a quarterback, and who knows
Yeah,
if
that's
they'll.
what I'm saying. Like they would sign Gardner Minshew to be like just like the placeholder until your rookie is ready.
Yeah. So yeah. Who knows? What will come of some of these free agents here. We have obviously Howie always has an ability to create some cap space, and you never know how much money we'll probably end up having. But
Yeah, I saw something where like he could create so much cap room by restructuring a couple guys and
give us like 33 mil or
yeah.
something like that. But and again, that would all be to basically sign our own guys. I mean, I don't see us being
Sure.
heavily active in the general free agent market. Certainly there's
Yeah.
certainly there's some names, but I just don't see us being all that active. Um, you know, I mean, honestly, is there really that many? You know,
Well,
of
yeah,
course.
what positions would you even really need to go out and address? I mean, you mentioned backup quarterback.
I mean, it would honestly be to fill the void of the players that we would potentially be losing. Uh,
right.
Personally, I mean, if they're, I guess technically Jesse Bates, who we've longed after for a while, is going to be a free agent. Uh,
Okay.
I believe they may be able to franchise him again or transition tag him again. I don't know. Maybe. Yannick Ngakwe, I've always loved. He's only, 27. Again, if we're, not going to bring back Brandon Graham, let's just say that would be a
Mhm.
nice addition. Um, I mean, there's a couple of corners again. If we don't end up, going the draft route, somebody
Mhm.
like Marcus Peters, somebody like Bradley Roby, so there's a couple of names out there.
Mhm.
Jonathan Jones, he didn't play terrible. That would be fine, I guess, for the second spot. Um, but again, you're going to be paying a pretty penny for CB2, and we certainly lucked out in our kind of having Bradbury fall into our lap. Uh,
Yeah, and you can't count on that every year.
no,
But I
no,
mean, then again, I feel like that's part of what helped open up this window of a championship type run. Like, how many times did we say, like, as we saw this team start to formulate, and as we got closer to opening day, and we saw what that opening day roster was going to be, so man, if we just get adequate play, like we'll be in contention for the division and maybe more. And we got MVP caliber play out of Jalen, and that's why we got to a Super Bowl.
yeah. I mean, obviously, we said it ad nauseum all off season last year. That the season is going to be determined by Jalen Hurts, and how far, as far as he goes, is how far he'll take us. And obviously, he stepped up in a major way. And I think even
Mm-hmm.
if he, kind of just continues what he built upon this past season, this team is going to be in contention and most likely going to be, in the title game again.
And
Uh,
everything that he showed you throughout his college career and now his pro career has showed, like, what leads you to think that he won't just continue to get better?
Yeah, he honestly has dealt with some, championship losses or, bumps in the road, so to speak. And he seems to just build on that and just use that as fuel. And, I expect the same. I think, given that our schedule is going to be certainly a first place schedule, we're playing
Sure.
some tough teams. We're going to be playing Buffalo, Miami, obviously the whole AFC East. We're going to play
Yeah,
Kansas
the Jets aren't going to be a joke either.
The Jets are improved for sure. We
Mhm.
play. Don't we play San Fran again?
Yeah, we play
L.A.
San Fran here. We played the Rams there, who will probably be better. You assume Stafford comes back healthy.
Right. Yeah. So we certainly have some tough games for sure. Um, but still, I think this is a team that could, continue to build upon what we did this past season and win our division and potentially get ourselves back into an NFC championship game with a chance to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's tough. Obviously, you need a lot of things to go the right way, health, and
Oh yeah,
you got to win those games that maybe you shouldn't have, or those one score games and all that. But there's a
and I'll say this about Nick Sirianni, both in year one and year two, and Jalen in year one and year two as a starter. What games did they lose that you looked at and said, "Oh, we should have won that one"? Like, okay, maybe the Giant game, like in year one in New York,
yeah.
and then what? The Washington game.
Yeah, I mean, again, some of those
Like,
turnovers were a little, whatever,
yeah, and what had to happen in both of those games that you lost that you look at and say, yeah, we probably should have won that game. That we were going into it the better team, and like everybody kind of acknowledged that we were the better team, and then they lost. Like those are the only two games. They don't play down to their competition a ton.
no, they really don't. And the fact that Jalen Hurts is like what 22 out of his last 22 starting games, like
Right.
that's pretty
Yeah.
impressive. It's pretty
22. I mean, that's
impressive. So, listen, there's a lot to be hopeful
yeah.
for. Obviously, as we all are dealing with this Super Bowl loss, and again, when you get that high, the fallback down certainly is a little higher and hurts a bit more.
Hmm.
But again, you have to realize that 30 other teams weren't in your position.
Hey, look, and when last week, and just to peel back the curtain a little bit, when you asked me if I would jump on the round table last Tuesday, and I told you I just didn't think I could do it. Like I
Yeah,
didn't have the energy. I did like that was a gut punch,
yeah,
like no doubt about it.
it
And
absolutely was.
but
Uh,
we like now as a fan base, we all have to collectively, and I know it's a lot easier said than done, but we all have to collectively move on. Like 2022 is in the rearview mirror.
yeah,
It's time to move forward.
yeah. Um, no, you're absolutely right. It sucks. It was disappointing. It was heartbreaking. But
Hmm.
again, I think being that you and I are in our early 40s and we got to experience that first heartbreak back with McNabb and against the
Sure.
Patriots in
Yeah.
04. I feel like this one didn't hurt as bad just because we already had that kind of experience as that first like loss. Whereas,
Hmm.
a buddy of mine, who Shane, he's a little
Sure.
bit, he's a little bit younger. He was, a very young kid when '04 happened. So it didn't mean the same to him. It didn't, whatever. And this is this first real one, and
Yeah.
he was honestly devastated. And I saw that, I felt that because I was, devastated myself back in the day, uh,
Hmm.
and recognize, that pain. Uh,
But was this one easier because we have one,
that,
or is it?
that was my next point
Yeah.
is, regardless of that, it was definitely easier knowing that we had one. Again, we've been fans our whole lives, and we finally got one 5 years ago. And
Hmm.
again, it's not that that takes away the hunger or the want to get another Super Bowl, but man, it certainly made the kind of the sting feel a little
Yeah.
less. Mike checks in. Your buddy now. Mike,
Yeah.
Chiefs. I will not, good sir. I will not. It's too hurtful. I did. I technically said they played a great game and they deserved it, but there's you'll have to go back and
Boo.
um,
Yeah. Acknowledge Sami Zayn, buddy.
okay. But yeah, listen, we're going to be dissecting a lot of the offseason in the upcoming weeks up until free agency.
Yeah.
We'll obviously let you know when we have our official roundtable.
Yeah, I suppose we should get together off air and discuss this and where we want to have it. And
Yeah, I was going to say our last couple of locations are no longer in business. So, well, okay, maybe not last couple, but well, I guess I'm really just talking about champs, aren't I?
yeah, I was gonna say, wait, our last couple are both still. I was just at one of them last week.
Oh, well, yes, theoretically, yeah, obviously that one, and that the other one too. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
I was
so
gonna say it's
wow,
probably not the one
yeah,
you're thinking of. I wasn't at
where did
that
that
one.
where did that all
I
run?
wasn't at the Italian American Club last week. I was at the Berwyn Tavern last week.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we
I
should
don't
probably
confuse our audience too much.
yeah, we'll figure out the annual three off season roundtables that we do in the off season.
Mhm.
We'll obviously do the first one for free agency, getting everybody ready for what to expect, who the Eagles might be targeting. Obviously there's less than 4 weeks to go until that officially becomes the start of free
Yeah,
agency.
tomorrow, can't they start setting franchise tags? Right
I believe tomorrow, yes, they can. So we'll
now, I
see.
doubt anybody will tomorrow.
Man,
It'll
do they
be
do they wait till the last second? Obviously, because they can negotiate.
deadlines burn action.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't expect anything for probably 3 weeks on most of
Yeah.
those. And honestly, people are using them less and less. It seems like lately. But either way, like I said, we'll plan this out. We'll let you know where we're going to be, so you guys can come out, join us, have a few beers, talk a little free agency. as we get you ready for the March 15th start of free agency for the Eagles. And yeah, we'll break it all down for you, and then next we'll do the same for the draft, and then we'll usually do kind of a season preview as the
Yeah.
camp gets underway, and we're
You know
close
what we
to.
should do? We should finally, and I know we've talked about doing this before. In fact, we've kind of done it, but we should do draft night at a bar, right?
Oh God. You mean live stream during the draft?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe we could play a couple of our draft
Oh,
drinking games
oh
on
God.
air.
God help us. We wouldn't make it to we might not make it to the 10th pick, much less the 30th. My God.
Thank God we're only doing 31 picks this year, right? Thanks,
Yeah,
Dolphins.
right. Yeah, that'll save us at least.
Woo.
It'll save
Yeah,
us a
that
couple of
10
shots.
minutes will save us.
Yeah, yeah. That one shot that we won't have to take will save us for sure. But yeah, maybe we might do that. That does sound like a good idea, especially if we can get to a safe location and have drivers, because I'm sure we'll be heavily intoxicated.
Yes, I will have to have drivers.
Yeah.
Although
So
last time I played on that, I ended up having to become the driver because you know who came out.
yeah, let's not talk about that one. Um, but yeah,
in Finn's face.
yeah. Oh boy, freaking yods. But yeah, we'll get all this set up. We'll let you know, and we would obviously love to have you guys join us out in the streets, but obviously at a bar, and
Yeah.
join for a drink and talk some Eagles football. So, but yeah, real quick, I do also want to make sure that I mention a few things. Obviously, the scroller right now, sixpackcoverage.com. Six Pack Coverage, we joined up with them a little bit ago, and they're just an awesome network. They're a national media company. They do obviously sports, but they do so much more: fitness, food, travel, finance, you name it. They pretty much have something for it. They also have this amazing kind of college network that they're building these teams at major universities, Division I universities, to kind of just give you the sights and sounds at that university, whether it's celebrating like a major upset win, for basketball, or whatever it is. So they're all over the place. Best place to follow them is on Instagram. There's got an insane amount of accounts for these
Yeah.
colleges, but yeah, Six Pack Coverage.
At least a dozen. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know how many I follow. They're all of the ones I can. But anyway, yeah, head on over to Instagram, search Six Pack Coverage. You won't be disappointed. The main account too is awesome and hilarious, and Andrew and everybody over there does such an amazing job. They in fact have Andrew, the head honcho there, has a podcast he does with Albert Hainsworth, talking about Tennessee volunteer football, as obviously Hainsworth went to Tennessee, played in Tennessee. So they do a really good job there too. So make sure you follow them. Head on over to sixpackcoverage.com and check them out. Obviously, I want to make sure I mention our main sponsor, and that is La Terrain Watches. Head on over to la-terrain.com and take a look at some amazing watches. Honestly, they're super super nice, super luxurious, and they cost a fraction of those major brands. I have a couple of them myself. I get compliments on them all the time. In fact, they have other accessories, sunglasses. I get complimented on those all the time. Yeah, so head on over there, use code PSA, get yourself some site-wide discounts, and save a little money and look awesome. So la-terrain.com, PSA is the code there. And then not last but not least, I definitely want to make sure I shout out the Painted Lines. Thank you, everybody who is checking in from the Painted Lines. They're just an awesome network, from the head honcho over there, Dibes, to Shane, Mark, everybody over there. And then obviously everybody that comment and watch all of the Painted Line shows, we basically partnered up with them. So where we stream on their YouTube, they stream on our Facebook. And that's why the best place to check us out is either YouTube or Facebook, especially Facebook. If you put on those automatic notifications, you'll get all of our PSA shows, but you'll also get the Painted Lines shows as well. And they put out amazing, amazing, amazing stuff, especially post game for Sixers. Right now, heavy into the draft. Dives is running, video after video of top, position groups and risers and fallers, sleepers. Me and him do a couple of mock drafts a week at this point. We actually just did one earlier today where I probably had the greatest mock draft in Eagles history. I had Jalen Carter. I had Lucas Van Ness, Chris Smith, safety from Georgia in the second.
Nice.
Yeah, I hit everywhere. So check that video out. In fact, if you go over to the Painted Lines YouTube right now, you can actually vote between me and Dives who had the better mock, which obviously is mine. But I think there's a lot of loyal TPLers out there that'll vote for Dives just to keep it close. But check that out. And then, of course, the last thing I'll mention is, of course, Philly sports trips. We were lucky to go on a few trips with them this past season out to Arizona and down to Washington. I'm telling you, head on over to phillysportstrips.com. Obviously, there's, the Eagles season is to be determined as far as dates and whatnot, but they do Philly, they do Sixers, they do Flyers, they do anything and everything, honestly. But when the schedule's announced, that's when all the real work is done. And they'll set stuff up for all the away games, which now we have 9 to choose from this year, which I think Tampa is something I'm going to be looking
Tampa's
into.
a good one. I think
DC was awesome. I might do that again. We have 2 trips up to New York with the Jets and the Giants. Again, a quick bus trip. It's cheap and you still get the experience. So there's a couple of great away games potentially.
Yeah, I would put New England on that list. I'd put
New England, KC,
Kansas City. Yeah.
So when the season's announced, head on over to them. Let them know that you heard about them from us. That way, Vince and the guys over there know that we're working hard for them, trying to get.
Everybody should just on the night of the schedule release. Should bombard those guys with emails being like, okay, what about this trip? What about this trip? What about this trip?
Oh, I'm sure they have all that. Basically, I'm 100% convinced they have everything set up. And it's just once the dates are nailed down, then
they just pin it down. Yeah.
Pin it down. So they probably are like, hey, listen, we want to, set up. And honestly, the tailgate is insane.
Well, all fair. I'll have to ask you how much Arizona actually was, so we can figure out the logistics of what if we were to go on a real trip as opposed to just the day trip into Washington.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, yeah. Could you theoretically break it apart and save money? I mean, obviously, I work at a part-time. I occasionally work at a hotel, so I get a hotel discount. That certainly helps, but. Honestly, the experience is well worth it. Just little things, not only the tailgate, but there's usually a happy hour. This that. When we went out to Arizona, they had the night the Phillies won, so we got to chill, hang out. We were watching the Phillies. Hollis Thomas was there and. A couple other guys.
Yeah, Phillies beat the Cardinals, and then the Eagles beat the Cardinals.
Yeah, exactly. So, it was. So they set that up, and they had the tailgate the day of, obviously, and that was just insane. Just music and just food and drinks and everything. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Those experiences are bar none. Just you can't recreate them, and they put on a hell of a show. And anybody that again. Is kind of follows the Eagles enough knows there are podcasters, bigger names like Jamie the Sports Guy, Fourth and John, 97.5 is usually attached. Like I said, Hollis Thomas, a couple other former Eagles. So it's always like just a great party atmosphere, and they just put it on, man. And DC was the same thing. It was like, it was cheap. It was like $300. Quick bus trip down there. We partied on the bus. We went down there. We
Yeah, we did. That was a good time.
we tailgated a little too hard.
You did tailgate a little too hard, but hey, you got your money's worth.
It was Bloody Marys. Really messed me
Ooh.
up. Woo, they were good.
That's why I stuck to my beers.
Yeah, so yeah, it was just awesome. And then obviously a bus trip back, and we're partying on the bus because we just dominated. And yeah, no, so phillysportstrips.com, head on over there, especially when the Eagles season gets schedule gets released. They'll have everything set up for Eagles fans, and they just do it right. Vince does it right, man. He really does, and he brings amazing people together. So I'm lucky to have met him and kind of been in, be in the outer ring of that circle. So I hope to continue to partner and work and do what I can to help grow. So yeah, that's it. That's all I'll say. I know that was probably way too much, and people are like, who cares? But
20 minutes. What the hell?
yeah. Listen, I mean, we are thankful and grateful for everybody we've gotten to work with, everybody that comments, everybody that likes, follows, shares, whatever, all the buttons that
Well, it's amazing. Like when we just try to thank everybody that helps us, man, that takes 20 minutes because it's a great community. The people that we've gotten to work with and interact with.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I have met some just amazing, people, fans,
people we wouldn't have met if we didn't try to do this.
That we weren't doing this, but again, I love the fact that everybody that we meet, whether it's the sports guy or Fourth and John or whatever other podcasts or known Eagle fan types, is they're all the same. They all just love this team to death and are the just most friendly and welcoming people. Like,
and we all support each other. We're all trying to lift each other up. We all want to get there. Like, I don't know if other fan bases, if other, if they're the same way, and maybe they are. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, obviously Eagle fans get a bad rap, but honestly, it's some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. So shout out to everybody. If I haven't mentioned you, you know who you are. Whether it's, Len and Susie, whether it's,
we're making a trip over there to get some jerseys.
Yeah, we are. Especially after the draft, we got to get them rookie jerseys.
Yeah, definitely.
The Mikes.
I still need my Jordan Davis jersey.
Yeah, me too. Fuji and Miller, they've been great fans of ours, and we obviously are super supportive of Fuji and Broad Street South and everything that they're doing. Yeah, honestly, and just Seamus and Cheryl, D, who commented earlier. It was good to hear from D and Marina, and just all the guys from the TPL that pop in as well. Six pack people that check out the show. Yeah, it's just honestly, it's such a great community. It's something that I never expected to be a part of, much less just embrace and just love, and just so thankful to be a part of. So, again, it was a wonderful ride this season. I had honestly more than any other year. I think I've had just such great memories of this year than I have in past years. And
I've tried to take more time to appreciate the moments this year, the little moments that led us there.
Yeah.
Like so often when you get caught up in like, oh man, we got to win this game. And it's like, once you get into that game, it's like you just kind of want it to get over with. So you win and get on to the next one. I've tried to really take an approach of wanting to slow down and savor each one of because man, you don't know how many of these this was a special year. You don't know how many more like this you get.
Yeah, we've been through plenty of bad seasons, and don't want to experience that. But
I'd rather have fewer of those and more like this year.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, and everybody that we tailgate with, it was really special this year. And we're going to continue to build up that tailgate. And
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
I can't wait. I already can't wait for that first game where we all get to tailgate again.
I know. I
That
have.
will give you the count. How many days until football
Yeah, I was
season?
gonna say you
Oh, I
gotta.
have the countdown ready.
I
Yeah.
know you do. I know you do. But yeah, there's a there's a lot of things on the wish list for upgrades
Mhm.
and additions to the tailgate. Um, and we'll see.
Yeah, we got to have that group
Really
chat
gotta
going
look at
all off season too.
what we really got to do is we really got to like check with like other tailgates and just anything that we
What
can
do
kind
they do that we
of
can sort of bring
like
in? Yeah.
obviously I want to upgrade our speakers. I would love to do like a full
Mhm.
day type sound system thing. I'd love to get another tent, maybe a bigger tent. Just I don't know, lots of stuff.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. It's such a great family. It's such a great time to, the tailgate family and just the people that you get to meet. So
Yeah.
anyway, sorry, again, it's kind of a year end review. Excuse me. So I'm
Well, this
obviously
is part of the year in review. We look back on the year as a totality.
as a whole, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we look forward to a great off season and getting to that first game and getting to that tailgate. So, again, I think. Yeah. Oh, did I actually tell you that too? I put one. Okay, so one, I put myself back on the list for tickets
Okay.
because I would love to get 4 tickets.
Sure.
Um, and I know exactly the two people that it would go to, Jess and Shane, because again, Shane doesn't always get a great an opportunity every week to go, but again, then obviously he can go with Finn every week, but then it leaves Jess out, and
Sure.
but I'm also not gonna lie, I may be looking into a seat license. They're
Okay.
they're not as expensive as I honestly thought.
I
I
remember
mean,
my dad was dead set against him. He was just like, if they
sure,
make us do it, I'm not going to do it. And of course, yeah, he was a cranky old man. But
he
so,
sure was. He was. I mean, they don't call him the old man for nothing. But
yeah.
you can look him up, and man,
Mhm.
like, I mean, I know it sounds like a lot because it is, obviously, but like
Yeah.
they had for like 7,500. But you'll see ones that are like 20,000,
Yeah.
but like there are plenty of options that are under $10,000, and those seats are yours for life. And like they just like anything, they appreciate and value, and again,
Mhm.
eventually want to sell them off. You could probably make a good penny eventually, depending on your timing. Obviously,
Mhm.
win a Super Bowl. I'm sure the prices jack up, but
Well,
uh,
sure.
yeah, honestly, again, it would be an investment, but I mean, it would be nice to have like really nice seats.
To know they're your seats and
And they're
you,
not,
yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and everybody around me. Like again, I share my seats with our buddy Larry. They're in
Mhm.
his name. But I've gotten to know everybody that we sit with.
I'm sure you've gotten to know them better than Larry.
Actually, I definitely have. Like it takes me 5 minutes to say hello to everybody when we get
I
down
know,
there.
I know. Look, man, I don't have a seat license,
Beautiful.
and it takes me a few minutes to say hello to everybody.
Honestly, I've only sat in and the seats that are actually in my name, I've sat in once. In 2 years, I think I've sat in them once. Um,
It's funny because Jody and I had the conversation one time about like would I ever want to try to like if financially I was doing better, like would I want to upgrade my seats? And I was like, honestly, not really.
yeah.
Like I
Well,
like where I'm at. I like the group that I'm with, and of course she got to sit with them for the NFC title game. She just said she's like, well, no wonder you don't want to. It's like such a great group.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I would have to defer to Finn,
Yeah.
who actually sits in my seats. Again, if I get the opportunity to add two more and maybe get four together,
Mhm.
and maybe
Yeah.
hopefully move up a little bit.
Like it's funny. There's one guy in our section that used to always just yell "Fire Andy," and this goes back to when Andy was here, and
Right.
so that's all we know him at. That's all I ever knew him
Fire
at.
Ant,
And
yeah.
Jody says to me, she's like, "Well, what's his actual name?" I'm like, "It's wait, hold on, it's not Fire Andy."
Yeah, yeah, like
It's going and I yell "Fire Andy," and I see him turn around, yo, and
hey, there's a couple of guys in our section. One of them, Chris Romanelli, who has a pretty big social media presence, but he actually um, he was the one who won Super Bowl tickets 5 years ago.
Nice.
And yeah, does a lot of great things for Eagles charities and whatnot. He's in my section. I'm pretty sure uh, um, I forget it. It's Chris something. I can't remember his last name off the top of my head. But the guy who dresses up like the Chicago Bears quarterback, but played for
Oh,
Jimmy.
Jim McMahon.
Yeah, that guy who you've probably seen a
Mhm.
billion times.
Yes.
He's in our section, super, up front, and so we see those guys every time. It's great, and
Mhm.
I got people section over. I got Shane's parents are two sections over. Like it's a great spot. I love it. The I Man is in this, it's a couple seats over. Like
Mhm.
these are your Eagle family, and I would love nothing more than to kind of have that in my name in that group. I
Yeah.
love sitting in that end zone. It's great. Um, but yeah, anyway, I digress. Just
Maybe one of these times, if Larry's not going to a game, I can go with you and sit in that section. I'll buy a seat. Yeah.
all right, yeah, that would
And
work.
I'll let Mike either take somebody else or sell both of our tickets.
Yeah, yeah, we could work that out.
Yeah.
So, anyway, but yeah, that's sorry we went down a
Yeah, we
little
definitely did go down the rabbit hole there.
rabbit hole there with the season being over and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, it's somber, it's sad, it's it sucks. Three S's of the end of football season. So,
Yeah.
uh, again, there is plenty to do in the off season. We're going to be talking about free agency for the next month and a bit. It's going to be pretty furious that first week, but usually it slows down, and then you kind of see through the weeds of who's left and who's available, and then that kind of really flows right into the draft as far as needs go and holes to fill. So we'll ride along right with it, and hopefully you guys will come with us. And we always loved comments and having people ask us questions and whatnot. So once again, make sure you follow us on all these up here: Instagram, Twitter, at Philly Sports PSA. Facebook, put on that automatic notifications. YouTube, please give us a subscription on YouTube. We appreciate that. But then, in Twitch as well. But you can also follow us anywhere podcasts are available: Spotify, Apple, Google, Anchor, all the main ones. So we appreciate it. Please make sure you check out some of the other shows on the network. Tomorrow, the Philly Broadcast will be on, and also the Round Table, the Birds of the Round Table, which is our PSA and TPL combo show. So we got a lot to discuss there. And some of the other shows. Obviously, Eric has his TLC with Mike, who chimed in about the Chiefs. Boo.
Yeah.
And we
I loved his take on the Super Bowl. He goes, "Hey, at least I know wrestling's scripted."
oh wow, there you
Yeah.
go. That's funny. But yeah, so again, thank you everybody who supports us in any way. We don't ask for much, but Ben, if like, follow, subscribe, share, anything you can do, we obviously appreciate. We're obviously not getting paid for much of this, so or any of this,
Yeah,
honestly.
you're getting our content for free, guys.
Exactly. So, any support we appreciate. So, thank you very much. Go Birds! And yeah, I think that's it. Eric, you have anything to add before we pop on out of here?
Nah.
All right. Well, appreciate that. Appreciate everybody. Thank you, Mike and Dee, for commenting earlier. And go Birds! But we will see you guys throughout the week on the many different shows on the Philly Sports Alliance. But that's it for us. So for the Football Smack Talk Show, I'm your host, Ryan.
I'm Eric. Happy football, everybody. Only 199 days to go.
Hey, we're under 200, baby.
We're already under 200. I love this new 17-game schedule.
Yeah, yeah, no, it sucks that we'll only have 8 home games, unlike this past year where we had 9, but more opportunity for away
I'm
games.
still waiting for the year they go to 18 games
18
because you
and
know it's going to happen.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna. I don't doubt it. So, all right, everybody, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week for the Football Smack Talk show, and of course throughout the week in all of our other shows on the network. We will see you guys later. Have a good night, everybody. Go Birds.
Go Birds.